What is up, YouTube? I'm a little hoarse today, sorry. um, so we on the part 6, right? We're on the part 6. So I think the most logical place would be to talk about seeds or plant starts, or both. You know, since we've already talked about everything else that you should have in place, once you have all the other steps in place, then you should be putting your plants in, right? I would hope so. So, should you start from seed or should you start from starts? I think it just depends on a couple of different things. Um, are you too late in the season to start from seed? For instance, if you're in the South, starting onions from seed, you're too late. Really starting sets from seed, you're too late. Unless if you're gonna start your seeds now, grow your seeds for sets, and then plant your sets out in the spring for bulbing onions. Now, if we're talking about bunching onions, you can start from seed on that anytime. At least in the South you can because of your growing season. I grow onions year round. But like if you have peppers or something that takes a while to germinate, something that takes a little while to get for the plant to get big, then get starts, or if it's anything else, or maybe you, like I said, you just don't have time to really germinate the seeds or make sure that everything's going to be good when you germinate the seeds. Maybe you don't have the time to babysit them. Then starts is probably a better way to go. Now, I will say this, when I first started gardening, a lot of times I would be late to the draw, so I would have to rely on starts a lot of times. Some stuff I could start from seed, but other things I would have to rely on starts. So, it's nothing wrong with that. As time went on, though, I tried to bring my costs down further and further. So nowadays, I no longer go from starts. Very hardly do I get starts anymore. Oh, Felix, you're so heavy. Hey, y'all. Felix. Okay, this isn't a cat video, is it? Oh, Felix says it is. Felix, really, the tail. So he's gonna sit in my lap and rub up against me. But anyway, don't bump the camera. He's bumping the camera. Felix, the tail. So, yeah. So as time went on, I tried to get away from starts, and try to do mostly seeds. I mean, starts. Yes, try to go from seeds, but I had to make sure that my timing was. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to make sure that my timing was good, because if your timing's not good, you'll end up starting seeds and then going to the store and buying starts. So it becomes a double whammy type situation. So yeah, that's one of the main considerations that you have to take into account. Another consideration is maybe you're just not the seed starting type. Some people just don't like to start seeds. They like to buy starts all the time. I've tried to tell certain people, like, go ahead and get your seeds in the ground, and they just keep not doing it, and then they just go buy starts. Because I think they like more the immediate gratification type thing, and I won't lie, that's where culture is right now. It's like immediate gratification. I need it now. I don't want to start from the ground level. I want to start, halfway up the ladder. So if you're that type of person, then starts might be the way to go. But if you're like me and over time you want to keep your costs down, and you don't want to keep, once again, making Bonnie more money than they probably should get, start with seeds. If you want to grow these more avant-garde or weird or different types of varieties, a lot of times you're not going to find those in starts. You're going to find very generic things in starts, like Georgia collards, just your kind of staple things. Georgia collards, lieutenant broccoli, but some other stuff. I mean, every now and again you find stuff like asperbrock or whatever, which is basically broccolini. Every now and again you find stuff like that, but most of the time you find your regular ordinary stuff. Crookneck squash, you'll find starts for that. Straight 8 cucumbers, you'll find starts for that. You know, it's just your regular, everyday, ordinary type plants. Oh, this one's lighter. He's lighter. Oh, you're lighter. Oh, yes, he's a lover. Yes, I'm a lover. Oh, he's sticking into my arms. So yeah, those are you know, if you want to grow these wild things that you've never heard of, for instance, I can find watermelon starts. They're usually sugar babies or jubilees or crimson sweet, something real garden variety. But I wanted to grow Bradford watermelons. You're not going to find starts for those. You're going to have to go from seed on those. Same things with a lot of your yellow meat watermelons. You won't find, I've never seen starts for them. Oh, watch my toes. Watch my toes. Okay, it's my sock. Just because you don't get the toe does not mean tear up the sock. Anyway, it's freaking cats. So, yeah, so, you know, starts versus plants. I'm going to also take this opportunity in this video to talk about plant spacing. If you guys watch my channel, you'll know that I don't abide by plant spacing. They say plant stuff, whatever space. I never do that. I always plant things closer. Over time, I have learned what type of root systems different plants have and how big they generally are. And if it has a small root system and I think my soil is nutritious enough or I can feed it enough, I will plant them closer. Or I will intensively companion plant. Like tomatoes, I often will plant garlic and onions around them because I know by the time I can pull the onions, the tomatoes will still be going. I can pull the garlic, the tomatoes, and it won't affect anything. Like if I pull the onion and the garlic, it won't affect the tomatoes. They will continue to grow. Same thing with I planted garlic and beets together. By the time the beets were ready to come out, the garlic was ready to come out. So, you know, some of that takes a little bit of experimenting and experience. Before, I did not know how to do that. I kind of taught myself how to do that by experimenting and seeing what worked and what didn't. Or just thinking about, okay, I usually pull my garlic in the end, like the end of May, beginning of June. What else can I pull around that time? Beets, because it gets hot, they start to go to seed. The only beets I have in right now are beets that I want to go to seed. All the other beets that I wanted, I have harvested, and they were delicious. But yeah, so don't be so rigid with your planting spacings. If you look how I planted my beets, I pretty much threw seed. I threw whole seed packets down. And they were all on top of each other. You're always going to get some beets that give you a nice root and other beets not going to give you nothing. You're always going to get that. So don't be afraid to plant them close together. They actually like to grow close together. In the wild, when beet seeds drop, they just drop right around the plant. They don't spread themselves out. They just grow. It's survival of the fittest. That's kind of how I like my garden. I like my garden to be survival of the fittest. The plants that are strong make it. The other plants that's weak get shaded out. It is what it is. So, yeah, don't be afraid to experiment and do those things. And don't be so rigid on, oh my God, I got to have 12 inches. Oh, I can only plant so many of this. You know what I'm saying? If you want to try it, plant it close together, see what happens. If you see plants are suffering or you see weakness, pull the weak ones. Leave the strong ones. And if your spacing ends up being, you know, more than what you thought it was, you had to pull some plants within, you learned, you know. So it's a learning process, all right? So, yeah, just think about, do you want to go from seed? Do you want to go from starts? And if you do want to go from seed, where do you want to get your seed from? Let me tell this all the new gardeners, because I had some new gardeners, they started their channels, and it was certain stuff they wanted to grow, and they went out and bought seeds. If it's any people on here, YouTube creators that create content, and you think they may have the seeds that you want, ask them. If you think that it may be something, or you see something in my garden that you might want to grow, ask me. I probably got the seeds for it. If I don't have the seeds, a lot of times I can reach out to other YouTube content creators and see if they have it. So ask around, ask us, because a lot of times, if you give me the shipping, I'll send you the seeds free. Um, there's been a couple of people that paid me for seeds, but anybody know I'm real reasonable. And if I know, oh, that's that so-and-so from YouTube, I'm going to hook you up. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't seen the videos, look at the videos where I sent seeds to people. I didn't skimp. I don't send you 2 or 3 seeds like the seed companies. There are a lot of good, reputable seed companies. I'm not against seed companies, but as I said before, I kind of want to create a thing where we can not have to rely on seed companies so much. So, yeah, so I want to try to keep it in-house. The stuff we can't keep in-house, we'll get from them. We'll let that stuff go to seed, like them nebula carrots. I'm sorry, Baker Creek. I might be about to put y'all out of business. Real talk, because I got so many of them nebula carrot seeds, and all I got to do is do my germination test. And if my germination test come out at least 80%, Baker Creek, y'all gonna be looking rough. Well, I ain't gonna say that. They probably got more seeds than I do, but hey, I'll be selling mine, or at least distribute them amongst, us that want to grow them. So that way we don't have to necessarily rely on them in case they out or whatever. And the same thing for a lot of other things. Um, I think bartering and trading is a skill that's been lost, and I think it should be gained back. But yeah, so always ask. Closed mouth don't get fed. Ask around, see what's up. A lot of us have seeds. I'm going to have some plants. I can't say when, but I'm going to keep y'all up to date. So ask around about that kind of stuff too. The worst thing they can do is tell you no, and then you can go to another source for that. If you want to know about various seed companies, like I said, a lot of the good ones, Baker Creek, So True Seeds. It's so many different ones, y'all. I can't even sit up here and name all of them. But plenty of people have, talked about seeds and where they got them from. Don't be afraid to get seeds on clearance at the store, like at Dollar Tree and Walmart. And when the seasons are running out and they're getting rid of seeds, excuse me, stuff like that. Don't be afraid to go get those clearance seeds. Just because it says it was packaged for last year, them seeds will probably still be good the next season. I've never had stuff like if it said 2019 and I sold it this year. I haven't had any issues. I've had seeds to germinate. Now, if you have super old seeds that maybe were stored incorrectly, then maybe you might have an issue there, but that's usually not the case. All right, y'all? And then if you're going to get starts where you want to get them at, usually your big box stores that have them, check your local nurseries. I believe in supporting local businesses. But if you don't have a good local nursery, go to your big box stores. They got plenty of plants for you. They have fruit trees, tropical plants, all that different kind of stuff. They got all that kind of stuff for you. And so, yeah, those are some of the resources that are out there. Can y'all, wait a minute. I can't even see what y'all see, but can't you? That's what I have to deal with. So, with that being said, this is part 6. Part 7 on the way, y'all. All right? Till next time. See you guys later.